Everyone is using AI now, ChatGPT, Claude, or something else. And almost everyone is using it to get ahead. The problem is that most people are leaving half of that advantage on the table. And they don't even know it. Because these tools were built in English. They run in every language, but they were trained for one. And if your English is okay, but you're not fluent, you're getting a weaker version of what the tool can actually do. This video is about why English specifically is the highest leverage language you can learn right now, and how you actually get there fast if you already have some. Start with what happens when you use these tools in a language that isn't English. You don't get the first-hand results. You get a translated version of something that was really built and tested in English. It's like someone telling you about an experience they had. You get the gist, but you miss some of the details. And in some cases, the details are the parts that really mattered. There is a take going around that says you don't need to learn English anymore, because AI will just translate everything for you. So here's the catch. On a standard reasoning test, the best models of AI scored over 70% in English. But if you drop them into a low resource language, that falls to around 40%. And the gap doesn't really reliably close as the models get bigger. So if you're using AI in your own language to get an edge, you're getting maybe half the edge that was available to you. Think about what that actually means. You're using AI to get ahead. Now, if you want to get ahead, you probably want the biggest advantage you can get. 40% versus 70% is almost double. There's no reason to settle for the smaller number. The only thing standing between you and the bigger number is your English. I see this at home. My wife is Brazilian. She uses AI in Portuguese. I use it in English. And we have run more or less the same prompts. But hers, they come out noticeably weaker. We use the same tool, same question, more or less, but she just gets a worse answer. Portuguese is a relatively well-resourced language, and it still happens. For a smaller language, the gap is even wider. This isn't new. It just got really urgent. English was already most of the internet. Around 90% of research papers are written in it. Most of the serious technical and scientific material lives in it. What changed in the last 2 years is the rate. AI sped everything up. More gets produced faster, and the overwhelming majority of this is happening in English first. The gap that was always there is now something you feel every single day, even more. So let me talk to the specific person this is for. If you're not a native speaker of English, you're not fluent, but you're also not starting from zero. You took English in school for years. You can read a tech article if you go slowly. You can follow a YouTube video with subtitles, but when you have to explain something out loud, or apply at the speed a conversation is actually moving, you freeze. That is a gap. That is who this is for. You probably feel it in this moment. You're reading something in English for work or study, and it is the 5th time you had to stop and look something up. You start thinking, this would have been so much faster in my own language. And that feeling is real, but it is also kind of a trap. Yes, your own language would be faster, but it would be worse. You would get the output quicker, but the output wouldn't be worth as much. So this is not really about losing something. It is about an advantage you're not collecting. You're already using the tools, you're just not getting as far ahead as you could be. And do not count on picking it up passively. If you think, I will absorb it at work, or I'll get it from watching shows on my own time, those things mostly don't happen. If you have already decided you're not going to actively practice, you're probably not going to use it for the other things you told yourself that you would either. The good news is that the most frictionless practice available to you is the same tool you're already using every day. You can set the AI up to play 2 roles at once. One is your assistant, helping you get real work done, and the other is for it to be your tutor. It will correct you when you get something wrong, then tell it to give you feedback. Then just start using it in English, and it will be a little slower at first, but because of everything we just covered, it will still be more useful than running it in your own language. You get the productivity and the practice in the same session. Now, for the method itself, the 4-step path that I practice is the same shape for any language. It's 200 high-frequency words, 50 words tied to something you care about, and then you stop studying and start consuming, then speaking, and then you just pick up the pace on what you were already doing. That is the path to fluency. So, what's different about English is the resources. Most language learning content in the world is made in English for English speakers learning other languages. Going the other way into English from a smaller language, the free material gets thinner and lower quality. The list you download is worse if you're downloading a vocab list, and that is the one place that the path gets harder. The tool I built, my own language learning app, handles that. It works the same way no matter what language you speak or learn. But it is paid, so I would just say it exists and move on. If you already have English school, you may be able to skip most of the 250 words and go almost straight to reading something simple. A comic, a manga, and then you start replacing things you already do in your own language with the same things in English. If you like reading in your language, then just keep reading in English. If you watch shows in your language, then watch shows in English. Try to not overload it, and realistically that is about a 4-month stretch to genuinely cross over, and maybe a year to reach 95% of the benefit a native speaker gets from the same material. Using AI as your tutor likely speeds that up. Not enough people have done it that way for me to be able to put a hard number on how much, but I can more or less guarantee it. The 50 interest words should match what you're actually going to use English for. They should not be a generic AI vocabulary pack if you want to use AI. If you use AI for marketing, pull words from marketing. If you use it for building things, then pull them from that. Make the 50 earn a place against your real life. English in 2026 has one unfair advantage for step 2. The content is functionally unlimited. Every show and every channel, every podcast, every tool is available in English. With my Ukrainian, I had to do real prep to find the Pokemon manga and confirm it existed translated to Ukrainian. In English, you barely have that problem. You just have to pick something you genuinely like and confirm it is there, which it almost always is. And the AI itself can be your content. It is very good at stepping into roles. I have mine set up as a whole content team, each part playing its own role, and I'm working on having those roles talk to each other in a group chat that is a project of my own. Following a conversation like that on a topic you already care about is exactly the kind of input that teaches you without it feeling like study. You can do voice chats as well. It is weak on pronunciation because it only hears a rough version of what you said. But for everything else, the ceiling is very high. The more creative you get with it, the more you get back. The shape of a good session is simple. Tell the AI where you are and where you want to go. Then let it lead. It is smart enough to guide you and give you tasks, build a path. Now, the biggest mistake people make, and I have made it plenty of times myself, is trying to control too much of it yourself. You should just give AI control of some of that. So how do you know when you've progressed far enough? I would say that you just go back to something that used to be hard, a task, an article, a conversation that beat you a few months ago. If it is easy now, that is your proof. We rarely notice progress while it is happening. You notice it by looking back at a wall you used to be stuck behind and walking straight through it. So, is English hard? Honestly, yes, if you're not used to learning languages. The spelling is strange, the verbs are irregular, the prepositions make no sense. But if you already know a language with a similar structure and you're used to the process, it's not bad at all. There isn't much grammar, and especially not much that you need early on. The difficulty mostly stops mattering at the level we are talking about, which is understanding and being understood, not passing an exam. The real exception is script. If your first language does not share an alphabet with English, Arabic, Hindi, Mandarin, for instance, then learning the script is the one genuine upfront cost. For that, I would use a tool that teaches the script directly alongside exercises that show you how it works. Get through that part, and the rest of the path looks the same as it does for everyone else. It is just a matter of getting to the starting line. So here's the thing. Learning English right now is not about English for its own sake. It's about not leaving half the advantage of every tool you already use sitting on the table. The people who can use these tools in the language they were built in are going to pull ahead of the people who can't. The gap is widening every day, and the good news is the path is shorter than you think. The content is everywhere, and the same tool you're trying to use better can be the one thing that teaches you. The whole path is on the channel for free, and if you want people walking it with you, the community is linked below. That is completely free.